Let me tell you the story of Steve Jobs, one of the most influential people in technology. It all starts with a high school kid who loved machines, taking them apart, putting them back together again. One day, this kid just picks up the phone, calls the CEO of Hewlett-Packard. No hesitation. He asks for some parts for a school project. The CEO hears this bold teenager and gets impressed, sends the parts right away. Years later, that same CEO probably looked back and smiled, thinking, I actually helped the future founder of Apple. That kid was Steve Jobs. Steve was born in 1955. His birth parents were two young graduate students, not married yet. They chose adoption for him. Steve didn't meet them until he was already 30. By then, he was deep into tech fame. The family that raised him lived in Mountain View, California. His adoptive parents were supportive, especially his dad, Paul Jobs. Paul worked as a machinist, loved tools and fixing things. From when Steve was little, Paul taught him electronics. They spent hours out in the garage, taking things apart, building new stuff. Those garage afternoons left a big mark. Steve's dad taught him about real quality. Steve remembered it clearly. When you're a carpenter making a beautiful chest of drawers, you don't put cheap plywood on the back. Even if nobody ever sees that side, you know it's there. So you use nice wood all the way around. You want to sleep well at night. The quality has to run through the whole thing. Steve was always into mechanics and design. School, though? Not his favorite place. His mom taught him to read when he was basically a toddler. In class, he got bored easily, started goofing off. One teacher got fed up and actually bribed him to behave. Still, she spotted his potential. Steve later called her one of the real saints in his life. In her 4th grade class, he did so well he skipped 5th grade completely. Straight into middle school. That skip wasn't smooth. He got bullied. Felt like an outsider. Middle school became miserable. One day, he told his parents straight up, if I can't switch schools, I'm quitting. I'm not going back. His parents took it seriously. They moved the whole family to Los Altos. New school district, Cupertino. That change turned things around. In the new school, Steve met Bill Fernandez, another kid who loved electronics just as much. They hit it off right away. And later on, Bill did something huge. He introduced Steve to his neighbor, another guy crazy about circuits and gadgets. You've probably heard the name. Steve Wozniak. High school rolled around. Steve already landed a job at Hewlett-Packard. Yep, from that same gutsy phone call years earlier. Summer gig. But by then, his world was getting bigger. He discovered literature, fell hard for the classics. Dylan Thomas, Shakespeare, loved them. Senior year, he was killing it in English. Got to take actual classes at Stanford. College came next. Steve chose Reed College in Oregon. Beautiful spot. Didn't last, though. One semester in, he dropped out. Still, he hung around campus. Kept sneaking into classes that interested him. No tuition, no credits, just pure curiosity. One of those random classes ended up mattering a lot. Calligraphy, the beautiful art of handwriting. Back then, Steve had no idea. But that one decision helped shape how computers would look forever. Steve needed money. He wanted to travel to India to search for spiritual answers. So he took a job at Atari in 1974. Atari made video games. Steve worked as a technician, helping the engineers, not doing the hard coding himself. Money was tight. He saved every dollar for the trip. At Atari, he reconnected with his old friend, Steve Wozniak. They had stayed in touch. Woz was brilliant with circuits. One day, Atari gave Steve a task. Design a board for the game Breakout. Use fewer chips to save money. And finish it fast. 4 days. Steve asked Woz for help. Woz did most of the work. Made it with way fewer chips. Atari paid a big bonus for that. Steve took the bonus. Didn't tell Woz the full amount. Kept it all. Years later, when Woz found out, it hurt him deeply. But back then they kept working together. Steve saved enough. He left for India, 7 months away. Tight budget. Slept on streets sometimes. Rode crowded buses. Ate very little. Got dysentery once. Lost 40 pounds. He meditated a lot. Learned about Zen Buddhism. Wanted to go to Tibet, but his traveler's checks got stolen. So he came home. Back in California, he kept meditating. And he kept using LSD sometimes. He started in college. Said it opened his mind. Showed him another way to see the world. Taking LSD was one of the most important things in my life, he said later. It made him focus on creating great things. Not just chasing money. He came back broke. Moved into his parents' tool shed. Turned it into a bedroom. No money. But he and Woz kept tinkering with computers. Woz built something cool called a blue box. It tricked phone systems, made free long-distance calls. Illegal, very illegal, but they sold them anyway. Steve's first little business, selling illegal phone tricks to make calls for free. Then Woz made something better. A real computer. Simple, but powerful for hobbyists. Steve saw potential. Convinced Woz they could sell it. In 1976, they started Apple Computer. Right in the Jobs family garage. Customers were mostly hobbyists at first. People who loved building things. They sold enough Apple I computers to make some cash. Steve hunted for more money, looked for investors. Woz kept designing. In 1977, they released the Apple II, color graphics. Much easier to use, not just for geeks anymore. First-year sales hit $3 million. 2 years later, $200 million. Crazy growth. In 1980, Apple went public. Stock market debut. By the end of the first day, the company was worth $1.2 billion. Steve was only 25. A millionaire many times over. But life wasn't all smooth. Around this time, his girlfriend, Chrisanne Brennan, got pregnant. Steve wasn't ready. He denied it at first. Didn't support her much. She left. Worked as a cleaner for a while. Later, a paternity test proved he was the father. Even with Apple worth billions, he only paid $500 a month in child support. They named their daughter Lisa. Years later, Steve and Lisa got closer. She lived with him in high school. Went to Harvard. Became a writer. Apple named one early computer after her. The Lisa. It didn't sell well. Neither did the Apple III. Both flopped. Things were about to get tough for Steve at his own company. Back at Apple, things started going wrong for Steve. The board didn't like how he ran things. He could be tough, very tough. Some people called it management by character assassination. In 1985, the board pushed him out. Not fired exactly. They moved him to a side office. Steve called it Siberia. He hated it. Felt like exile in his own company. After a few months, he had enough. He quit, left the company he started. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, he said later. It was devastating. He even thought about leaving Silicon Valley for good. But something clicked. He still loved what he did. So he decided to start over. He founded a new company called Next. Built computers for education and businesses. High-end stuff. The first Next computer launched in 1988. Beautiful design. Great software. But the price? $10,000. Too expensive for most people. Sales were low. Not a great start. While that was happening, Steve looked in a different direction. Movies. In 1986, he bought a small animation group from George Lucas. The group was called Pixar. Steve wanted to make the first full computer animated movie. It took years, a lot of money, a lot of work. But in 1995, Pixar released Toy Story. It was a huge hit. Kids loved it. Adults loved it too. Still has a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes today. A year later, Pixar went public. Stock exploded. Steve's shares were suddenly worth $1 billion. Again, déjà vu from Apple's IPO. Right around then, Apple was in trouble. Big trouble. Losing money. Bad products. They needed help. In 1997, Apple bought Next. That brought Steve back. Not as CEO at first, but soon he was running things again. He took a $1 salary, focused on vision and design. He made a smart deal with Microsoft, got cash flowing to Apple, helped Microsoft avoid monopoly trouble too. Then came the big turnaround idea. The iMac, launched in 1998. Bright colors, egg shape, fun, different. People loved it. Apple went from near death to profitable again. From there, it was one hit after another. 2001, iPod, changed how we listen to music. 2007, iPhone, changed phones forever. 2010, iPad, created the tablet world. Apple became the company everyone watched. Steve once said, "We started out to get a computer in the hands of everyday people, and we succeeded beyond our wildest dreams." During all this, Steve built a family too. In 1989, he met Laurene Powell at a Stanford lecture. Couldn't take his eyes off her. They talked after, had dinner that night, started dating, got married in 1991, Yosemite National Park. A Zen monk did the ceremony. They had 3 kids together, stayed married until the end. Steve also reconnected with his birth family. After his adoptive mom got sick and passed away, he looked for his birth parents, met his mom Joanna and his sister Mona Simpson. They searched for their dad together, found him in California running a restaurant. Steve had even met him once before, shook his hand. Ate there. Never knew. He chose not to get close to his father. Didn't like what he learned. Life looked perfect on the outside. But health problems were coming. Everything looked great on the surface. Apple was flying high. Steve had a loving family. But in 2003, bad news came. Doctors found a tumor in his pancreas. Cancer. Rare type. Operable at first. But Steve didn't want surgery right away. He tried other things. Vegan diet. Acupuncture. Herbs. 9 months passed like that. Friends and doctors worried. Said the delay might cost him years. In 2004, he finally had the operation. Tumor removed. For a while, things seemed okay. He went back to work. Kept leading Apple. But the cancer stayed in the background. In 2005, Steve gave a famous speech at Stanford University. Commencement address. 15 minutes. He talked about 3 big stories from his life. Dropping out of college. Getting fired from Apple. Facing death now. He told the graduates, connect the dots, looking backward. Trust that things will work out. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. He ended with words from an old catalog. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. The speech went viral. Millions watched it. Still inspires people today. By 2008, people noticed. Steve looked thin, tired, gray. Apple said it was just a virus. Antibiotics. But rumors grew. In 2009, he had a liver transplant. Tim Cook stepped in as acting CEO. Steve recovered, came back, kept pushing Apple forward. He stepped down as CEO in August 2011, told the board, if I can't do the job anymore, I'll be the first to say it. That day had come. Tim Cook took over full-time. Steve stayed on as chairman, but only for weeks. On October 4, 2011, he lost consciousness at home, family around him. Next day, October 5, 2011, he passed away. Complications from the cancer. He was 56. The world reacted with shock, grief. Messages poured in. From presidents. From everyday people. California declared a Steve Jobs Day. Apple and Pixar released statements. Honored his creativity, his drive, his vision. In 56 years, Steve changed so much. Computers, music, phones, movies, the way we connect, work, create. He was difficult sometimes, demanding, but he pushed everyone to make things better. Beautiful, thoughtful, even on the inside, nobody sees. And here's the real takeaway from his story. Steve wasn't born perfect. He made mistakes, big ones, got fired from his own company, hurt people close to him, faced huge failures, health battles. Yet he kept going, kept learning, kept creating, dropped out, traveled the world, came back, started again. That's what matters. Not being flawless, but staying hungry for what you love, trusting the path even when it twists, because the dots connect later. If you keep moving forward with real care and curiosity, you can build something meaningful, something that lasts, just like he did. If you made it through this shadowing session today, that already says something about your discipline. This repetition and consistency combination might look boring on paper, but it is one of the most powerful ways to build fluent, natural English. Keep showing up like this, and your brain will slowly adapt. Trust the process. If this helped even a little, consider liking the video or subscribing. It lets me know these sessions are actually making a difference. We will do this again soon. You are building something real.